Good evening, boys and girls. So, how are you guys? Number. Otherwise, you may be removed. So, please, guys, do put your registration number along with your name. Okay. So, am I audible and visible, guys? Yes. Drop a mail through your BOS mail. So today, guys, we are starting a new chapter. We shall be taking an overview of this quite voluminous chapter, that is chapter number 4 relating to audit evidence. So students, we have read in chapter 1 that objective of an independent auditor of financial statements is to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements. Now, how does an auditor obtain such reasonable assurance? Obviously, such reasonable assurance has to be obtained by means of audit evidence. So, without audit evidence, no meaningful audit can be conducted. You understand this, guys? So, in chapter 1, we had also read that that one of the features of an assurance engagement is that practitioner obtains sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So it leads us, guys, to the concept of audit evidence. How does an auditor obtain audit evidence? What is the meaning of audit evidence? And what are audit procedures through which an auditor obtains audit evidence? What are assertions? So these things we shall be discussing today briefly, and we shall also be discussing these essays which form part of this chapter. So I will give a briefing to you in respect of all these essays, that what these essays firstly deal with. Okay, so essay 500 deals about what an audit evidence is all about and what are auditors' responsibility in regard to obtaining audit evidence. Essay 501 deals with some specific points for certain selected items, like for existence and condition of inventories, for litigations, and for segment information. We'll be coming to these in later part of this lecture. Essay 505 deals with external confirmations, and Essay 510 deals with auditor's responsibilities in an initial audit engagement where he is the auditor for the first time. Then what are his responsibilities and duties are in regard to opening balances which are appearing in financial statements. And Essay 520 deals with the analytical procedures. So when analytical procedures are used by auditor to obtain audit evidence. Essay 530 deals about audit sampling and auditors' duties and responsibilities in this regard. Essay 550 deals with related parties and the auditor's responsibility when an entity has entered into transaction with related parties. And Essay 610 relates to auditor's responsibilities in using work of internal auditors. So guys, this is a brief outview of what is contained in this chapter, that is chapter number 4, audit evidence. So first of all, guys, what is the meaning of audit evidence? What is the meaning of audit evidence? So SA 500 states it defines audit evidence. It states that audit evidence is information used by the auditor on the basis of which conclusions are drawn. For forming his opinion. So you can understand that audit evidence is nothing but information. So these all essays deal with how an auditor obtains such information, how an auditor obtains such audit evidence in these circumstances. Okay, is that clear to you guys? So another point, important point to remember is, guys, that audit evidence can be obtained from accounting records as well as other information supporting accounting records. So like example of accounting record is like books of accounts, okay, or some calculations made by the management, say regarding valuation of inventories. So these are all accounting records, like stock records, like invoices, like contracts, okay. And what is other information which supports accounting records, like minutes of the meeting, like internal control manuals. So these things support the accounting records, information obtained from accounting records. So audit evidence, students, it may be visual, it may be oral, or it may be documentary. It is not that oral evidence is to be totally discarded, but question is degree of reliability. So tell me, guys, which type of evidence would be more reliable, oral or documentary? Yes, you can send your answers on BOS mail. Which type of audit evidence is more reliable, oral or documentary? Yes, Priyanka, yes, you're right. Obviously, documentary. Anything which is written, which is in documentary form, is always more reliable. And what is visual audit evidence? What do we mean by visual? Visual means when auditor sees something, when he say observes some process. Okay, so that is a form of visual evidence. Oral, like he makes oral inquiries from the employees of the company, from the management. He can make oral inquiries. He can make written inquiries also. So obviously, practically, when you do the things, everything may not be necessarily in writing. So many things are also asked orally. Okay, so inquiries can be oral also. So guys, two more terms come in audit evidence. One is external evidence and another is internal evidence. Now, can you tell me, guys, what is the difference between the two? What is the difference between external audit evidence and internal audit evidence? Yes, anyone? What is the difference between external audit evidence and internal audit evidence? Yes, students. Can you tell what is the difference between external audit evidence and internal audit evidence? So if I ask from you that you are conducting audit of an entity and you come across a purchase bill file containing some purchase bills. Okay. So tell me, and you are going through these bills. Tell me whether purchase bill which you are going through while conducting audit of an entity is an external audit evidence or internal audit evidence. Yes. Yes, you are writing something, Priyanka, Priya, and tell me whether purchase bills you find in the purchase bill files of a company of an entity are an example of internal audit evidence or external audit evidence, and why? Yes, Priya, you are right. Shambhi, you are also right. So here, guys, you are confused. Priyanka Pandey and Khushi Pandey, the simple purchase bill is not an internal evidence. So internal evidence means which is generated within the entity, which is generated within the company. Now, if I am purchasing something from outside, now whether purchase bill is being generated by me, whether purchase bill is being generated by that company of which I am the auditor. No, it has been generated by the supplier. So it is an example of external audit evidence. So you have to clearly remember that external audit evidence means audit evidence which is generated outside the entity, and internal audit evidence means evidence which is generated inside the entity. Yes, Priya, yes, you are right. Yes, guys, have you understood? So it is not that you find something within the entity and it becomes internal. No, no, it is not that. You have to your criteria has to see is to see whether it is generated within the entity or whether it is generated outside the entity. Okay. So I think this point should be clear to you. So similarly, sales bill, if you are auditing a company, then the sales bills generated by the company, these are example of internal audit evidence because the company is making the sales. So the document has been generated by the company itself. So it is example of internal audit evidence. So this distinction you have to keep it in your mind very clearly. Okay, and as regards audit evidence is concerned, there are two other terms, guys, which come in connection with the audit evidence in SA 500. One is relevant audit evidence, or you can say relevance of audit evidence. And another is reliability of audit evidence. Reliable audit evidence, reliability of audit evidence. So the audit evidence which you are verifying which you are seeking while conducting audit, it should be relevant in relation to the assertion being tested. Now, say for example, say I am testing whether the valuation of a debtor. Now, see, I am testing valuation of a trade debtor. Trade debtor means the party to whom I have sold the goods. Okay. I am testing the valuation of trade debtor. So I have asked for external confirmation from this party. So does this external confirmation is relevant for testing valuation of trade debtor? If I ask confirmation from the said party and the party provides the confirmation, it gives me the evidence that these transactions have taken place. That sales have been made to this party and payments have, and that party confirming party, there are payments. So these things are confirmed. Now, but whether valuation is proper or not, for checking valuation assertion, this may not be relevant, because valuation means whether the amount which is reflected in the financial statements, whether it is proper or not. Say if the amount is outstanding in my books for 2 years, if the amount is outstanding as a trade receivable in my books for 2 years, and I need to make a provision for bad and doubtful debts, then this procedure is not relevant for testing valuation. For testing existence, it would be relevant. So for testing valuation, it may not be properly relevant. For that, I have to check other things like aging, for how long it is outstanding, such things. So valuation is a different thing, guys. When we come to assertions, the same thing would be more clear to you. And another thing is reliability. So like reliability depends upon a number of factors. Like say when the auditor directly obtains audit evidence, it is more reliable. Documentary evidence is more reliable than oral evidence, like just we have seen. So therefore, audit evidence has to be relevant and reliable. Okay. And another two terms which you have been listening very often from chapter 1 are sufficient, appropriate audit evidence. So what is sufficient, guys? Sufficient means enough. So sufficient is a measure of quantity of audit evidence. No, like what should be the sample size. So these type of things relate to sufficiency, whether the evidence obtained by auditor was sufficient, and appropriate relates to quality of audit evidence. Quality is also concerned with reliability, like like audit evidence obtained from outside the entity, from an independent source, is always more reliable than audit evidence obtained from inside the entity. So this is the meaning of sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Sufficient, remember, is a measure of quantity of audit evidence, and appropriate is a measure of quality of audit evidence. These two terms are very important from your examination point of view, and do not forget what is the meaning of sufficient, what is the meaning of appropriate. These very clear. So we will also consider it by means of an example. So let us say that you are part of an engagement team conducting audit of a company, and say the company is having current account with the bank. There is, say, some balance of rupees 5 lakh rupees. So you would be trying to confirm the balance of the bank directly from the bank by means of a confirmation. Okay, but assume also that there are certain checks which have been received on the last date, as at the close end of the year, which have been deposited in the bank on the last day, for which bank has not yet given credit. Okay, and there are some checks which have been issued by the company, but these have not been presented for payment. So your act of just obtaining a balance confirmation from bank, whether it would be sufficient appropriate audit evidence, or you would have to do something more. Yes. You have understood my question. Simple question, guys. You have understood what I have said. Tell me, if in such a case the auditor seeks confirmation from bank only, whether it would fall in the nature of sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Yes, Priyanka Pandey is saying do something more. But what is that something more? What something more you would be looking at? Yes, anyone? Those who are on Zoom, we will be able to talk to you in last half an hour as always. For the time being, you can send your queries on the mail. In first 2 hours, you are all on mute, please. So do not raise your hands. Yes, what you have to do further. So obviously, guys, besides confirming balance from bank, you would be obtaining bank reconciliation statement. Want you would be verifying it. Yes, Anoop, yes, you are right. Yes, Khushi, you are also writing on the same lines. So, both things together, these would constitute sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Clear, guys? So, you have understood the concept of sufficient appropriate audit evidence? Again, at the cost of repeating it, I am saying that sufficient means refers to the quantity of audit evidence, and appropriate refers to the uh, quality of audit evidence. Okay. So, guys, there is one more topic which I have touched upon in my earlier lectures also, but I have also been saying that it would come in a detailed form in subsequent chapters. So now this topic, that topic is here in chapter number 4. Okay. So that topic is assertions. So students, this topic is very important from your examination point of view. Many times case studies also come in the exam based on assertions. Many times questions, descriptive questions also come based upon assertions, that what audit procedures you would perform to verify this assertion. So you have to be very clear in your mind what assertions are all about. Students, sometimes some students reach their finals, and even then they are not clear about the term assertions. So I had made you understand this term very generally in past lectures. So as far as technical definition is concerned, so assertions are referred to representations by management. Representations by management, whether explicit or implicit. Which are embodied in financial statements. And are used by the auditor to identify potential misstatements. So this is the technical definition. You have to remember this technical definition as it is after understanding it. Now, what is the meaning of it? Now we will dissect it. We will do a post-mortem of it. What is this definition of assertion all about? So assertions are representations by management. So when we say somebody is asserting, we say that he is saying something with a belief. He is saying something with a conviction. So if in the statement of profit and loss say purchases are of rupees 30 crores, so the management is making a representation. Management is asserting that they have in fact purchased goods amounting to rupees 50 lakhs. That these transactions have in fact occurred. These are not fake. And besides, they are not only saying this. When you see a figure of 50 lakh in the statement of profit, say 50 crores in the statement of profit and loss account, it not only means that purchases have taken place, that these transactions have taken place. Uh, these also show that whatever purchases needed to be recorded have been recorded within this figure of 50 crores. That nothing is left out. That these purchases are complete. And simultaneously, by reflecting such figures, management is also asserting that these figures, that whatever is reflected in purchase account has been properly classified, and the amounts recorded are accurate. Whatever is in bills in the source data, entries have been made from that source data. So these are all assertions. These can be drawn from the financial statements. So, and also remember guys that most of the assertions of management in financial statements are implicit in nature. So what is the meaning of explicit or implicit? Explicit means which are stated expressly, and what is implicit? Which is implied. Implicit means which is implied, which can be understood, and which are embodied in financial statement. Embodied means present. Embody means present, which are embodied in financial statements and are used by auditor to identify potential misstatements. So the auditor uses these assertions to identify potential misstatements while performing audit procedures. So the auditor tests these assertions by performing various procedures. Like say, we take the example of purchases. Say purchases are of rupees 50 crores. So I would check whether these transactions are genuine. So I am checking occurrence assertion. So occurrence is a type of assertion in respect of class of transaction. If I am checking whatever needed to be included in purchases have been included. So I am checking completeness assertion of purchases. So similarly, if I am checking that whether amounts recorded in purchases are accurate, whatever amount is reflected in bills or whatever amount was required to be included in purchases has been included, the amount is correct, there is no mistake. So I am verifying accuracy assertion. Similarly, there is another assertion cutoff, that amount should be recorded in the correct accounting period. So if I am checking that the account has been recorded, that the amount has been recorded in the correct accounting period, so I am verifying cutoff assertion. So you understand the meaning of assertions, guys? So similarly, say building is appearing in the financial statements of say 30 lakhs. So what you can infer from this? If the building is appearing, it means that building is owned by the entity. So building must be appearing at the written down value. So depreciation has been charged. It would be separately reflected in the schedule, forming part of balance sheet. Okay, so it means that building is being used for the purpose of business, and depreciation has been charged. So on. These are all implicit assertions. As I have told you that most of the assertions are implicit in nature. Okay. Now, Priyanka, you are asking the auditor can assume that recording of financial statements is correct. No, he can't assume. He has to verify these things by performing audit procedures. This is nature of his job. This is nature of his work. It is for this purpose he has been appointed for. Yes, Priyanka, is it clear to you? So you have understood, guys, the meaning of term assertions. So remember, you have to learn this definition of assertions. Okay. And yes, Priyanka, random checking of entries, obviously he can't do every, he can't check every entry. Obviously, he would be using sampling. So guys, you have understood the meaning of assertions. And besides understanding the meaning of term assertions, here is the definition which is in your module. Assertions refer to representations by management, explicit or otherwise, means implicit, that are embodied in financial statements as used by the auditor to consider different type of potential misstatements that may occur. Okay. And these are different type of assertions. Now, guys, the nomenclature, the naming of assertion is different for three different categories. Now, there are three different categories: classes of transactions and events, account balances, presentation, and disclosure. So these you can assume it to be P&L items. These you can use it to be balance sheet items. And these are disclosure items, presentation and disclosure items. So in class of, for P&L items, the technical term is class of transaction and events. Remember this term. You would be using this term many times in your auditing paper. And the items which are appearing in the financial state, in the balance sheet, we call as account balances, because these are balances. These are the effect of the transactions which have occurred during the year. Like trade receivables are consequences of sales made during the year. Trade payables are consequence of the purchases made during the year. Okay. Or some balances are directly reflected in financial statements, like fixed assets, like property, plant, and equipment. Okay. So for classes of transaction and events, there are these five kind of assertion. Number one is occurrence. So what is occurrence? Occurrence means that the transactions have in fact occurred. That, like I had given you the example of purchases. If purchases are there in P&L of 50 crores, it means that purchases belong to the entity and these have in fact occurred. Okay, so this is the meaning of occurrence. Completeness means that whatever needed to be recorded has been recorded. Nothing has been left out. So all transaction and events that should have been recorded, in fact, have been recorded. Third is accuracy. Accuracy, that all data amount relating to transaction has been correctly recorded in the accounts. Okay. Next is cutoff, that it is recorded in the correct accounting period. Like say the transactions which needed to be recorded in say year 23-24, these have in fact been recorded. Okay. Classification means the transactions have been recorded in the correct account. These have been classified properly. Okay. So clear, guys? You understand the meaning of all 5 type of assertions relating to transactions? What do they mean? So there are assertions relating to account balances. Okay. So in case of account balances, first assertion, we call it as existence. So existence is similar to occurrence. But in case of account balance, we call it as existence. So existence means that particular account balance exists. Say if I say that a debtor of rupees 50 lakhs is there. So it means that debtor exists. That is genuine. So in respect of account balances, we call it as existence. So simple to understand. But once you have to learn, guys. Okay. Second is rights and obligations. Now, what are rights and obligations? So when you own some asset, obviously you have some right over it. Say if you have got some property, plant and equipment, if you have got some land, if you have got some building, then obviously you should have right over it. You should have proper papers belonging to it, proper title to it. Okay. And obligations are in relation to liabilities. So in relation to liabilities, you owe something to others. So completeness, the meaning of completeness is same, which is here in a class of transactions. Like say in case of trade debtors, all the debtors which needed to be included have in fact been included in the overall trade receivable amount. All the trade receivables which needed to be recorded have in fact been recorded. Okay. Valuation and allocation. Valuation and allocation means that that account balances have been valued properly. Valued means like I was giving you example of valuation of trade receivables, whether proper allowance for bad and doubtful debts has been made or not. So it would reflect whether the trade receivable has been properly valued or not. Or say in case of inventory, whether valuation has been properly made or not, whether costs have been allocated properly. Like say in case of work in progress inventories, whether costs have been allocated properly depending upon the completion of work in progress. So these are the 4 assertions in case of account balances. So remember, occurrence is similar to existence. Completeness is common. Rather, completeness is common in all the 3 cases. Okay. And one is right and obligations. Rights belong to assets and obligations pertain to liabilities, and valuation and allocation. Clear, guys? And third thing is presentation and disclosures. Now, whatever disclosures you are making in financial statements, the management is making in financial statements. So these disclosures should have occurred. So occurrence and rights and obligations, these two are combined here, and these are called a single assertion. Occurrence and rights and obligations. Like say the management has disclosed something regarding some legal matters, regarding some legal cases. So it means that those events have in fact occurred. Okay. Completeness, same meaning, that disclosure should be complete. Whatever was required to be disclosed has been disclosed. And next is classification and understandability. So it has been properly classified as per reporting framework. And accuracy and valuation is the same meaning, that whatever figures are given, these are accurate. these are error free, there are no errors in it, and these have been properly valued if required. So clear guys, assertions. So guys, you have to read this topic twice, thrice. आपको 3-4 बार पढ़ना पड़ेगा और इन सब का नाम और मीनिंग आपको याद करना पड़ेगा. Okay, because it is a very important topic and it would help you in solving many case study based MCQs and give you a better understanding while writing some of descriptive questions also, which would be coming to you through chapter 5. Okay. And so guys, we have been using this term audit procedures. Since chapter 1, we have been using this term. So audit procedures are the ways by which an auditor obtains audit evidence. So in my last lecture, I had also explained to you that audit procedures consists of what? These consist of risk assessment procedures and further audit procedures. So these we have already discussed. Further audit procedures, and within further audit procedures, I had told you that these consist of tests of controls and substantive procedures. So this chart is there in your module also, guys. So always remember this. And substantive procedures are again broken into tests of details and substantive analytical procedures. And tests of details are further divided into tests of transactions, that is checking profit and loss items, and tests of balances. So आपको students, you don't have to get confused between transactions and balances. When we say tests of transaction, it means checking profit and loss items. When we say tests of balances, generally balance sheet items. Okay, tests of controls you already know. You already know distinction between risk assessment procedures and substantive procedures. So again, remember, I am again repeating it, that the purpose of risk assessment procedures is to identify and assess risk of material misstatement, whereas the purpose of substantive procedures is to detect material misstatement at assertion level. So substantive procedures help in finding out misstatements at different assertions. Okay, so if I am able to find misstatement in purchases, in sales, in expenses, okay, clear, or I may find out misstatements by performing procedure in account balances, in trade receivables, in trade payables, in property, plant and equipment, relating to various assertions which I would be checking during the course of audit. Here guys, overview of audit procedures. So different kind of audit procedures are there, guys. We shall quickly go through these procedures. These are inspection, observation, inquiry, recalculation, reperformance, analytical procedures, and external confirmations. So these are different types of audit procedures. Okay. Now these procedures, some of these may be used as risk assessment procedures like inspection, observation, inquiry, and analytical procedures. Remember, we have read it in chapter 3. And all of these can be used as substantive procedures. So this thing also make clear in your mind that which procedures can be used as risk assessment procedures. These are inspection, these are observation, inquiry only of persons within the entity, and analytical procedures. These can be used as risk assessment procedures. These can also be used as substantive procedures. So procedures are common, and all of these can be used as substantive procedures. Clear, guys? So the purpose of always remember the basic funda, the basic things, that the purpose of substantive procedures is to detect material misstatements at assertion level, at the level of transactions, at the level of balances, okay, or say at the level of disclosures. Yes, is that clear? So what is inspection, guys? We have been discussing this from chapter 1. In chapter 1 also I had touched upon this. Guys, do you remember what is inspection? Can you give any example of inspection as a procedure? Yes, guys, quickly, this chapter is quite long. Yes. Can you give example of inspection as a procedure? Yes, guys, can any one of you give an example of inspection? You are conducting audit of an entity. I ask from you, give me an example of inspection. Yes. Inspection of data. Yes. Shambhavi, Priyanka Pandey. Yes, right. Checking books of accounts. Anup. Yes. It is all inspecting. Now give me an example of observation. Yes. Give me an example of observation. No, Priya, be careful while writing. You are saying physical inventory valuation. Now, observation means seeing some process, observing some process being performed by others. So you have to write physical inventory attend counting, physical inventory counting attendance. When you attend physical inventory count process, you observe the staff of the company carrying out physical count of inventory. So you are observing their process. Yes, Priyanka, seeing work of staff, that is also observation. Now, inquiry, you already know, guys. Making oral inquiries, seeking information, making written inquiries, like making inquiries from the management people, making inquiry from the staff, making inquiry from the marketing people, making inquiries from the uh, from any knowledgeable person within the entity. Okay. Or outside the entity. In substantive procedure, you can make inquiry from the lawyer also, external lawyer also. Yes, recalculation. Recalculation means checking arithmetical accuracy. that mathematical calculations are okay. Simply this is the meaning of uh, recalculation. Okay. And what is reperformance? What is reperformance? Reperformance means performing something or performing some control which has already been performed by the management as part of its control processes. Like say, take a very simple example of bank reconciliation statement. The accountant has prepared the bank reconciliation statement, but you again prepare the bank reconciliation statement. Or the say the accountant has prepared the aging analysis of trade receivables, but you again prepare the aging analysis. So you are reperforming. So uh, reperformance obviously is time consuming because you are again performing the same process, but it is also very effective. Okay. And what are external confirmations? External confirmation means sending confirmation requests to outside parties, like to say trade receivables, to trade payables, or to other parties for confirming not only balances but also some other things. Okay. It may be the terms of contract. And what are analytical procedures? This we have already discussed. There is a separate essay 520 relating to analytical procedures. So analytical procedures means evaluating financial information. When you assess the financial information by making relationships between the financial data as well as non-financial data. Say like it includes ratio analysis, it includes trend analysis, like you are comparing various ratio, like debtors turnover ratio, like say gross profit ratio, like net profit ratio over past years, or you are comparing entities data with some industry data. Okay, that is again an example of analytical procedure. So what is the significance of analytical procedures? Significance of analytical procedures is that it helps the auditor to know about certain misstatements which he may not know by way of routine checking. Okay, so therefore before forming a conclusion and opinion on financial statements, the auditor performs analytical procedures, which we also call as overall tests in context of auditing. So clear, guys? Audit procedures are clear to you? So as I told you guys, there are different essays covered in this chapter. One essay is essay 501. It is audit evidence. The name of essay is audit evidence, specific considerations for selected items. So this essay talks about three things. It deals with three things. Number one is inventories, existence and condition of inventories. Second is litigations and claims involving the entity. And third is segment information. So SA 501, so we'll consider these things one by one. First, inventories. So SA 501 states that whenever inventories are material to financial statements, the auditor has to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding existence and condition of inventories. So what is the meaning of existence and conditions? Existence means that in fact inventories in fact do exist, that stocks do exist. These are not fictitious. Okay. Condition means that their condition is proper. These are not damaged, say, or these are not obsolete. Or if these are obsolete, so this has also to be judged by the auditor. Okay. So what are the duties of auditor in this regard? So auditor has to attend physical inventory count whenever inventories are material to financial statements. Clear, guys? So while doing so, the auditor shall do four things. Number one, he shall evaluate. First of all, he shall evaluate management's instructions. Now, what do we mean by this? So remember, guys, that physical inventory count is responsibility of management. The primary responsibility is of management. So who is responsible for physical inventory count? Management. Management has to ensure that that inventory is counted physically. These reconcile with its records, with its stock records. Okay. So first step in first responsibility of auditor in this regard is to evaluate management instructions regarding physical inventory count. First of all, the auditor would see what type of instructions has been given by the management to its staff for carrying out physical inventory count. So that is the first step, logical step. So if the instructions are not proper, then physical inventory count would also not be proper. Logical consequence of that. Yes, is that clear, guys? So first step is evaluate management instructions. And what is the second step? Attend physical inventory count. Attend the process. Perform test counts. Yes, Anoop, you are saying, what do you mean by when you say inventory is material to entity? Material means that it is significant. Say there can be some entities where inventories is insignificant. Say in service oriented industries, in a service oriented industry, uh, the inventory may be negligible, or it may not be there, or when it is there, it may not be any significant amount. Whereas in case of a trading unit or in case of a manufacturing unit, inventories would be material. Yes, Anup. Is it clear to you? So what the auditor would do, he would evaluate management instructions. Number two, he would observe the performance of management's count procedure. So whatever counting they are doing, he would observe. He would inspect the inventory and he would perform the test counts. So four things he has to do. So you have to remember these four things. He would evaluate number one, management's instructions. He would observe the performance of management's count procedures. He would inspect the inventory and he would perform the test counts. And thereafter, he would perform audit procedures over the entity's records to determine whether they actually reflect the inventory count results. Now, whatever has been counted as part of inventory count process, it should also correlate with the inventory records. Okay. And guys, one important thing in this essay is attendance at physical inventory counting unless impracticable. So what is the meaning of impracticable here? So guys, say take an example that you want, as an auditor, you want to attend physical inventory count of inventories, and the plant of the company is say on the outskirts of Delhi. Okay, so remember 2 years, 3 years back, there was agitation in and around Delhi. So all the roads were blocked. Assume that the plant is situated on the same road which was part of the blockade. Okay. So you were not able to go there. So then it may result in satisfying this condition of impracticability. Or say the plant is located at say such a location where there is a risk to the safety of the auditor. Okay. So then also it would become impracticable. So what the auditor should do in such a situation? Then he would perform alternative audit procedures. Like he would see whatever inventories were present as on 31st March, whether something has been sold out after the year. So he would perform these kind of procedures. But anyway, he has to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. If these procedures do not provide him sufficient appropriate audit evidence, then he may have to modify his opinion. Okay. And one thing is that you may not be able to attend inventory count due to some unforeseen circumstances. Now, both things are different. Now, say in the example I have given, say there was a road blockade by certain agitationists for some period of time, say for 1 month. and the road blockade was opened. Then say the auditor could not go there for physical inventory count as on 31st March, but he can easily go there afterwards in the first week of May. So SA 501 states that when there are unforced circumstances, then the auditor can make can attend the inventory count at a different date, and during the intervening period he can perform the alternative audit procedures. So he can reconcile purchase sales of the intervening period of the for the month of April. Okay, clear guys? So this briefing of this brief overview of inventory portion is clear to you guys? And second part is of this essay 501 relates to litigation and claims. So students, there may be legal cases going against the company. So these can affect financial statements in various ways. Like these may need to be disclosed or provisions may have to be made. Okay, depending upon the advice of the legal counsel. So FSA 501 states that auditor shall design and perform audit procedures in order to identify litigations and claims involving the entity which may give rise to a risk of material misstatement, including, now such procedures shall include three things: inquiry of management, and number two is reviewing minutes of meeting of management with its external legal counsel, and reviewing legal expenses account. So when you do these things, you obviously know, say when I review legal expenses account and I see some fees has been paid to lawyer, so I would ask, show me the bill on what account fees has been paid. So that I can know that on what account fees has been paid. Is there has there a case been filed against the company? So what is its disclosure status? So many questions would arise in my mind. So similarly, I can also see, I can also go through, I can also inspect the minutes of meeting between the management and its external legal counsel. What is transpiring between management and external legal counsel? I can also make formal inquiries from management that tell us whether some litigation cases are going on, and tell us the status of those cases. So guys, if the auditor assesses a risk of material misstatements, then he can also communicate with the entity's legal counsel. The auditor can also send a letter of inquiry to the external legal counsel. He may desire to meet external legal counsel if he feels necessary in certain circumstances. Now, what are those circumstances? Like say, when the auditor determines that matter is a significant risk, say the amount involved is huge, or it could have adverse implications for the company, for the entity, or the matter is very complex, the auditor is unable to fathom, he wants to gain an understanding from the external legal counsel himself, by meeting external legal counsel himself, or the matter, or there is a disagreement between management and the organization's external legal counsel. So in such cases, the auditor can also meet external legal counsel. So if the management doesn't allow him to meet the external legal counsel, then he can see what are the implications for his opinion and he can modify the report. Okay, so this is the second part. So third part is of this essay relates to segment information. You know about segment information, guys? Which accounting standard deals with it? Yes, anyone? Which accounting standard deals with segment information? Have you done it, guys? Yes, Rohani, AS 17. So here we are talking of that segment information which you have read about in AS 17. Say when an entity is engaged in 3 different lines of activity. Okay, and it is required to disclose separately segment assets, segment liabilities, segment revenue, segment costs for different type of products which the entity is dealing. Okay, so in such a case, the responsibilities of auditor include to see that such a information is properly disclosed, and he has also to see what are the methods by which segment information has been allocated between different products. Obviously, the management would be employing different methods in accordance with a relevant accounting standard. Okay. So the auditor shall obtain an understanding of the methods used by the management in determining segment information and evaluating whether such methods are likely to result in disclosure in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. And he shall also test the application of such methods, whether such methods have been properly applied or not. Okay. So next essay is essay 505. Next essay is essay 505, which relates to external confirmations. So it deals with the essay 505 deals with the auditor's responsibilities regarding external confirmations. It throws light on how confirmations are to be designed and sent. So these things are dealt within this essay 505. So like we have been talking, students, that that an auditor sends external confirmations to trade receivables, to trade payables for confirming their balances. So what is external confirmation at the first place? What is external confirmation at the first place? So essay 505 defines external confirmation as an audit evidence obtained as a direct written response to the auditor from a third party in paper form or electronic or other medium. So remember, guys, that when an auditor sends external confirmation request, then response has to be received directly by the auditor. So it is there in the definition of external confirmation. External confirmation may be defined as audit evidence obtained as a direct written response to the auditor from a third party. Third party मैंने confirming party, the party to whom I have sent external confirmation request. When that confirming party confirms something, confirms the information asked by me, it is known as external confirmation. Now it has to be in writing, in paper form or electronic form. It can't be oral. Remember, it can't be oral. So in SA 505 there are some terms used. So we would quickly go through these terms. What is the meaning of these four terms? One is positive confirmation. Another term is negative confirmation. Another term is exception. Another term is non-response. So positive confirmation means when auditor sends a confirmation to confirming a confirmation request to a confirming party, and he requires it to confirm whether the third party agrees with it or disagrees with it. Okay. So he requests them, look, please confirm this thing, whether there is a difference or not. In both cases, you may confirm. So it is known as positive confirmation. So negative confirmation means when the auditor sends a confirmation request to the confirming party asking it to confirm only when there is disagreement. When you disagree, only then confirm. Okay. Yes, sir. नमस्कार सर. Yes, good evening, sir. Hello. Good evening, sir. Yes, Ashok ji. सर लाइन पे हैं. हाँ हाँ.
नहीं, मैं करुणा जी से बात करना चाह रहा था.
ठीक है सर.
करुणा जी हैं क्या?
करुणा जी हैं सर.
हाँ, लेकिन वो वहां तो नहीं बोल रही है.
आई फोन करता सर मैं उनको.
नहीं, उनको भी को होस्ट बनाइए ना.
एक्चुअली सर बनी हुई थी, फिर मैडम जैसे नेटवर्क इशू के चक्कर से लॉग आउट हो गई थी.
हम्म.
मैं उनको फोन कर देता हूँ.
नहीं, जाने दीजिए. आशीष जी.
यस
हाँ
सर.
जी सर.
अजीत जी, ये क्या
यस
हो
सर.
रहा है? बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज लाइव वर्चुअल क्लासेस को प्रमोट ही नहीं कर रहा है. तो 15 स्टूडेंट 10 स्टूडेंट ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं.
एक्चुअली सर कुछ
हमारे
बच्चे नहीं नहीं सर, एक्चुअली कुछ बच्चे हैं ना यूट्यूब से भी देखते हैं डायरेक्टली. सारे बच्चे सर जूम पे नहीं आ रहे हैं.
अजीत कुमार चेयरमैन को भी थोड़ी अक्ल है.
नहीं सर वो.
दो 2 लाख स्टूडेंट्स हैं.
हम्म।
कहाँ पर फ्लायर है, कहाँ पर मास मेलिंग है। आज मैं घूम रहा हूँ कोल्हापुर, सांगली, उनको कुछ पता ही नहीं है। मैं सौ बच्चों से बात कर रहा हूँ,
हम्म।
लाइव वर्चुअल क्लासेस का उनको कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है। चलो मैं बंद कर रहा हूँ। आशीष जी, यू कैरी ऑन।
ठीक है सर, थैंक यू। So, negative confirmation, students, negative confirmation means when the auditor sends a confirmation request to the confirming party to respond when he disagrees, when the other party disagrees. So this is called negative confirmation request. So it is generally not sent. It is only when it is sent in certain cases, say when there is low risk of material misstatement, or when you can say there are small balances, and low exception rate is expected. So in those cases, negative confirmation requests are sent. Like say, in case of a company, there are small balances of some retailers, say 10,000, 20,000. There are large number of such balances. So the auditor may send negative confirmation requests. Okay. So, and non-response means when auditor sends a confirmation request and no response comes. Simple. And exception means when auditor sends a confirmation request and there is difference, there is variation between the response given by the party, confirming party, and the information available with the auditor from the accounting records. Okay. Is it clear to you guys all the meaning of all these four things? Yes. Yes, guys, is meaning of all these four things clear to you? Please respond on mail, guys. And say, tell me, students, what would happen if the management doesn't allow the auditor to send confirmation requests? What would happen? What would happen? Tell me, what would happen if the management refuses the auditor to uh, to send a confirmation request? It doesn't allow the auditor to send a confirmation request. So obviously, when the management refuses, so the auditor first of all would see why the management is refusing. He would seek reasons. Okay, he would seek reasons why the management is refusing. And if the reasons are genuine, the auditor can perform alternative procedures. Like I give you an example. Say there is some dispute going on between a trade receivable and the company of which you are an auditor. So the management requests you not to send external confirmation to this particular party because already we are in dispute, and the matter is also near settlement. They show you the documents. You do not go by their version. They just show you the documents that we are already near the reaching the settlement, and if you send confirmation request, it might spoil the whole thing. Okay. So if the request is genuine, then the auditor, if the reasons are genuine, then the auditor can accept those reasons and perform alternative procedures. Okay. But if the management, if he thinks that the management is only making excuses and the reasons are not genuine, then such a refusal would amount to a limitation on the scope of audit itself. Okay. So it would act as a limitation on the scope of audit itself, and the auditor may have to modify his opinion, or he may have to withdraw from the engagement depending upon the circumstances. So because, say, if management is not allowing the auditor to send confirmation requests, then it means they are curtailing the scope of his work. They are not allowing him to do and perform the required procedures. So the auditor may have to withdraw from the engagement, or he may have to modify his report. Clear? So Anup, you are saying, what does auditor do in case of exception? So if there is exception, means the information which is given by the confirming party, there is some uh, difference, or there is that party disagrees with the part of the information, then auditor would see what is the impact on his opinion. What is the impact of that particular item on the financial statements? Yes, Anup, is it clear to you? So there is another essay, guys, essay 510. There is another essay, essay 510. So essay 510, the name of this essay is Initial Audit Engagements. Opening balances. So what does this essay deal with? So guys, it deals with the responsibilities of auditor in initial audit engagement regarding opening balances appearing in financial statements. Now, what is initial audit engagement? Yes, do you know, guys? What is initial audit engagement? Yes, anyone, yes, who can tell me what is the meaning of initial audit engagement? Yes, Anup, Priyanka, Rohani, can you tell me what is the meaning of initial audit engagement? We have already discussed this term while doing chapter 2. What is meaning of initial audit engagement? No, no, Sumit, not audit from very start of company. So initial audit engagement, yes, Palak Ben, you are writing partly correctly. Initial audit engagement means an engagement in which accounts of last year, previous year were audited by predecessor auditor. Previous auditor. Or accounts of the previous year were not audited. So it is known as initial audit engagement, first audit engagement for the auditor. So if I am an auditor of a company for year 20, for an entity for year 23-24, and if the auditor of last year 22-23 was carried out by some other auditor, it is an example of initial audit engagement. Clear? Or say if I am auditor of an entity for year 23-24, and in 22-23 its accounts were not audited at all, so it would become initial audit engagement. So there is a responsibility regarding opening balances appearing in initial audit engagement. Now what is the logic behind it? Say in an initial audit engagement I have not carried out the audit of the previous year, so I need to obtain certain sufficient appropriate audit evidence about opening balances. So how I am going to obtain audit evidence regarding opening balances in initial audit engagement? These things are dealt with in this SA 510. Okay, so like say in case of opening balances of trade receivables, so you can see whether the payments have come subsequently during the year, so it would provide you comfort. So similarly regarding opening balances of trade payables, whether payments have been made to the creditors whose opening balances were outstanding at the outset. Okay, so but you would say, what about stocks? So what are your responsibilities regarding opening inventories? So obviously you can't make a physical verification of opening inventories. So what you can do, you may, if you have been appointed well in advance, then obviously you can make a physical inventory count on the date of your after when you are appointed, and you can go backwards and perform alternative procedures, or you can at least make a valuation of opening inventories. You can also make you can also perform certain analytical procedures, that there is no misstatement in opening balances. Isn't it right, guys? So similarly, in case of items appearing in property, plant and equipment, you can verify that whether you can verify the plans of the entity by which it had conducted physical verification during that year. So you can see those documents, you can inspect those papers. Yes, guys, is it clear? The main points of SA 510, what things it deals with and what is the logic behind it. Have you understood, guys? Yes, students, please drop a mail. So I am again repeating it, that SA 510 initial audit engagement opening balances deals with the auditor's responsibilities relating to opening balances when conducting an initial audit engagement. So what is the definition of initial audit engagement? It is here. Initial audit engagement refers to an engagement in which either the financial statements for prior period were not audited, or the financial statements for prior period were audited by a predecessor auditor. And what are the responsibilities? What audit procedures can the auditor apply while verifying opening balances? These are here. Say like for current assets and liabilities. Some audit evidence about opening balances may be obtained as part of current period's audit procedures, like the payment of opening accounts receivable or accounts payable. So in case of inventories, the current observing a current physical inventory count and reconciling it to the opening inventories, performing audit procedures on the valuation of opening inventories. So these all things we have discussed right now, guys. And for non-current assets and liabilities such as property, plant and equipment, audit evidence may be obtained by examining the accounting records and other information regarding the opening balances. Yes, guys. Clear? So there is another essay, guys, essay 550. The name of essay is 550, related parties. So it deals with the auditor's responsibilities regarding related party relationships and transactions when performing an audit of financial statements. Now tell me, students, why related party transactions are important? Why related party relationships are important while conducting an audit of financial statements? Yes, anyone? Yes, Krish, Priya, Priyanka, Anup. Why performing audit procedures on related party transactions is significant for an auditor? You have already read about related parties in Companies Act. Yes, Anup, you are saying related party transactions may have significant effect. Why they could have significant impact? My next question to you is, Anup, is why they could have significant impact? Yes, why they could have significant impact? Yes, because directly or indirectly they are financially interested in entity. Yes, so there is a greater risk of misstatement. While talking in language of auditing, there is a greater risk of misstatement. So that is why the auditor needs to perform audit procedures whenever related party transactions are there. So this essay 550 basically deals with such procedures. So a related party, you already know, students, related party may be defined in applicable financial reporting framework, or where it is not such defined, you can understand it to be an entity having common management, or which can significantly control, or where an entity can significantly control or influence other entities decisions. Like, you have common directors, you have common shareholders. There are two companies, you have common shareholders. So these are all related parties. You have common directors, you have common key management persons. So these are all examples of related parties. So what is the risk in related parties, guys? So it is not that whenever you find a related party, you say, okay, there is a fraud. No, it is not the case. Related party transactions may be carried out as a normal business transaction. There is nothing wrong in it. Nothing wrong in it. A director, a Mr. A may be a director in one company, he may be director in second company, or he may be shareholder in one company, a shareholder in another company having substantial shareholding, and both the two entities make normal business transactions. So there is nothing unusual about it. But point is that such related party transactions can be abused. Such related party transactions can be abused. So therefore, the transactions between related parties have to be carried out at an arm's length price. So you would be reading it in your taxation laws also, that transactions with related parties would have to be carried out in the same way as you would carry out with a third party. Okay. So while verifying transactions, while performing procedures relating to related parties, the auditor has to remain alert. He has to adopt an attitude of professional skepticism. Okay. Yes, Priyanka, query link is working. So, and another risk in relation to related parties is, in related party transactions, is that the auditor might come to know about all the related parties. Now, there is risk also that management may not disclose all related party relationships. So therefore, it becomes a responsibility of the auditor to see that all such relationships are disclosed. Now, how auditor can find out related party relationships? Now, like, he can go through MCA records, he can go through income tax returns. Okay, and like this. So it is also one of the important aspect. Like, he can go through entities income tax returns to know who are the shareholders, who are the directors, information supplied by the entity to the regulatory authorities like MCA, shareholders registers, members registers. Okay, certain records of entities investments, contracts and agreements with key management personnel. So such things are there from where auditor can find out related parties, related party relationships and transactions. Okay. Now, students, there is another essay, essay 520, relating to analytical procedures. So at the beginning, we had discussed the meaning of analytical procedures. We once again go through the definition of analytical procedures. So as per essay 520, analytical procedures means evaluation of financial information through analysis of plausible. Plausible means believable. Plausible means believable relationships between both financial and non-financial data. So like say take a very simple example. You are a part of an engagement team conducting audit of a company, and say you are verifying rent expenses. So you verify the rent with the rent agreement. So whatever rent has been entered in the rent agreement, you see that the same has been debited for the 12 months. So okay, you get the evidence. But if you come to know that for the same office space, another entity is paying much lesser rent of the similar office space having same area in the same apartment, in the same building. So this is the use of analytical procedure. This is the application of analytical procedure, where you evaluate financial information. Now here in this case, I have assessed rent payments by analysis of relationship with financial data and non-financial data. Okay. Similarly, say if I compare gross profit ratios of the company of past 3 years with another company in the same industry. So what I am doing, I am performing analytical procedures. So analytical procedures, students, these can include trend analysis, these can include ratio analysis. Now ratio analysis, I think you are very much familiar with this term. What does ratio analysis mean? Like net profit ratio, like gross profit ratio, debt equity ratio, debtors turnover ratio. Okay. So why analytical procedures are important? Yes. Can you tell? Yes, Priyanka, Sumit, Palak Ben, Anoop, can anyone tell why performing analytical procedures are important? Yes. Yes, students, why performing analytical procedures are important? What is the significance of performing analytical procedures? No, Sumit, I am not talking about related parties. Now we are talking about SA 520 analytical procedures. Yes, Priyanka, you are writing correctly. Plausible means believable. That it means that there should exist some sort of meaningful relationship between two financial items. Like like debtors would have relationship with sales. Debtors can't have relationship with purchases. Yes, Tamanna, is it clear to you? Plausible means meaningful, believable. Is it clear to you with the example? Yes, Tamanna, is it clear to you? Okay. So remember, students, that analytical procedures, these help the auditor um, to detect material misstatements before forming conclusions, because certain things he may not come to notice of auditor during routine checkings, during performance of routine procedures, like what I had told you about verifying rent from a rent agreement just now. So, but these type of things can come to the notice of auditor on performance of analytical procedures. That is why these are also called overall tests. So when analytical procedures are performed as substantive procedures, means when analytical procedures are performed to detect material misstatements at assertion level, these are called substantive analytical procedures. And these are usually performed near the end of the audit before forming conclusion. Okay, like say you have a company has taken loan from a bank. Okay, say 1 CR, 1 crore loan the company has taken. Say the loan has the company has fully utilized this loan during the year, and the auditor knows from the sanction letter that rate of interest on the loan is rupees 12 lakhs. So what would be his broad view about the interest debited on this loan in books of account? It should be around 12 lakhs. Or if it it pertains to a part of period, then proportionately it, or if the loan is has remained outstanding for the whole year, then obviously it would be around 12 lakh, or there may be a small difference of few thousand rupees, but it can't be say 7 lakhs or 8 lakhs. So this is the purpose of analytical procedure. So such type of tests in analytical procedures, we call these as reasonable tests. So it is again a part of analytical procedure. Yes, students, is it clear to you? So guys, two topics are still left in this chapter. That is essay 530 audit sampling and essay 610 using work of internal auditors. So we would not be able to do justice to these two topics. So I would try um, to make you understand main points of these two standards on auditing in a subsequent lecture uh, with a short chapter, probably on 31st May, because on 31st there is small chapter audit documentation. So then we will be covering both these standards on auditing. Okay. So now let's do some questions. And guys, before moving on to questions, there is another topic of audit trail in this chapter. Audit trail. What is the meaning of audit trail, guys? Do you know? What is the meaning of audit trail? Yes, can anybody tell me? Have you heard this name, audit trail? Audit trail, students, means documented flow of transactions right from the beginning. Say right from the beginning, a document has been received, how it was, who created entry in relation to that document, when that entry was changed, how many times it was changed, who changed it, what were the changes made. So these things are reflected in audit trail. Okay, students. So audit trail is helpful to the auditor because it leaves a sequence, it leaves a chain, it leaves a record of events which shows that how transactions have been entered and how they have been changed, and it also throws light on the internal control system of the company. Okay. And it also provides the auditor with a sense of data security. So audit trails are very important, not only from the point of view of organization, from the point of view of entity, but also from the point of view of an auditor, because it enhances his degree of confidence in the accounting information. So guys, you would do well to remember that recently Companies Act 2013 has made it mandatory for all companies to which use accounting software, that such software should have feature of audit trail. Now it is compulsory, and the auditor has to report in his audit report. In case of companies only, I am talking. So this point, this law point, you would be reading in your Companies Act, company law clauses also, and in auditing also, in chapter number 8 on audit report. Okay. So I will also show you guys a sample of audit trail. Do you want to see? So like say, this is how a trail looks like. Edit logs, like say the voucher, it shows different activities pertaining to voucher wise, like when the voucher was created. Now it was altered 5 times. Who altered this voucher? Who created? Who altered? At which date? Which time? So all things are there in the accounting software itself. Similarly, what changes were made? So these are also shown here. So if a voucher is created for the first time, then on subsequent dates, what changes have been made in different fields? like whether narration has been changed, whether amount has been changed, who has made these changes. So this is how an audit trails look like. Very elementary sample I'm showing to you. So obviously you have to understand that it would not only be beneficial for an organization, for an entity, but also for the auditor, due to reasons discussed by me. Yes, guys, clear? Is it clear to you?
I think so we need to tell them again that they need to write their registration number with their name.
Yes. Students, whenever you ask a query, do interactively on Zoom, then do write your registration number. Without your registration number, your response may not be considered. Your query may not be considered. Okay.
For today, we are exempting, but next time onwards, it is very important to mention the
Okay.
registration number. I think Akash wanted to ask you sir something. He was writing in chat.
Yes. So, Ashokji, you can unmute.
Sorry, if you are continuing, yeah. You can continue and then you can take his query. He was writing to you.
Okay, first we'll do some questions. Then you can ask, guys. So see the first question, students. Audit evidence is information used by auditor in arriving at conclusions on which auditor's opinion is based. It includes both information contained in accounting records and other information that authenticates accounting records and supports auditor's conclusions. Give few examples of such other information used by auditor. Now you have to give the examples of other information other than information contained in accounting records. Give examples of such information. I told you at the beginning.
Minutes of the meeting
Yes.
and internal control manuals.
Anup. Yes, you are right. So minutes of the meeting, internal control manuals, and say even confirmation received from third parties. These are also other information because these are being supplied by other parties. Na? These have not been generated from your accounting record.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So question number 2. Now this I have explained just right now. Companies Act 2013 has made it mandatory for companies to have a feature of audit trail in accounting software used by them. Do you think such a feature is useful to the auditor of a company? If so, how? So what points you would write?
Sir, this feature helps the auditor to show the changes done by which person and what changes reflects in the financial information.
No, but this is the meaning of account audit trail, na? But the question is asking to you, Priyanka, to state how it is useful to an auditor. You have to write the usefulness of audit trail to an auditor. What you would write? यस
सर
प्रियंका।
ऑडिटर का भी टाइम सेव होगा, अगर ऑडिट ट्रेल रहेगा तो चेंजेस जल्दी पता चल जाएंगे।
हाँ, फिर आप लिखेंगे ना, आप उसको उसमें ऐसे लिखेंगे कि ये उससे उसका इंटरनल कंट्रोल की के ऊपर भी उसकी एश्योरेंस बढ़ेगी। इट एनहांसेस, it shows that internal controls operated effectively, and it also shows that data security was there. So you would write such kind of points.
ओके सर।
Okay. So when you see the topic of audit trail, this para usefulness to the auditor is given at the end of this topic in your module. So 3-4 points are there. So you would be writing all those 3-4 points.
ओके सर।
So सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम स्टूडेंट्स आपको क्वेश्चन पेपर में आती है कि आपको पता ही नहीं चलता कि हमें इसमें लिखना क्या है। आपके दिमाग में तो मान लीजिए अब आपने कंसेप्ट तो अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया। मैं 100% श्योर हूं जितने लोग इस टाइम जूम पे हैं वो ऑडिट ट्रेल का कंसेप्ट समझ गए, लेकिन क्वेश्चन में रेलिवेंट पॉइंट आपको लिखने हैं, क्वेश्चन की डिमांड क्या है उसी के हिसाब से नंबर मिलेंगे आप। मान लीजिए आप इसमें खाली ऑडिट ट्रेल का मीनिंग लिख देते हैं और इसमें यूजफुलनेस नहीं बताते तो आपको कोई मार्क्स नहीं मिलेंगे। क्वेश्चन आपसे यूजफुलनेस पूछ रहा है ऑडिटर के लिए। ओके। और स्टूडेंट्स, वन मोर पॉइंट इन ऑडिट ट्रेल इज that you have to remember that audit trails also involve costs. So one thing is financial costs. Okay. Another thing is time spent on analyzing the audit trail. Say if you have instituted audit trail in your accounting software, say in case of companies it is mandatory, but if you do not analyze that audit trail, then what is the use of management to it? Or so you understand, guys? So it also has a time cost. Yes, clear?
यस सर, क्लियर।
Yes. Now see question number 3. Yes, क्या आंसर होगा इसका?
In case
सर
of
Yes, speak one by one. Yes, Anoop.
sir, in case of unforeseen circumstances, he can attend that physical inventory check at a different date.
Yes, very good. So this is an example of unforeseen circumstances. As Anoop has rightly said, this is an example of unforeseen circumstances. It is not an example of impracticability. तो अब कई स्टूडेंट्स एग्जाम में इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर इम्प्रैक्टिकेबिलिटी लिखाएंगे, कोई कुछ और लिखाएगा, तो इसलिए जो है फिर उनको क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा, फिर वो कर्ज करते हैं इंस्टीट्यूट को कि हमें मार्क्स नहीं मिलते। तो फर्स्ट स्टूडेंट्स वी हैव टू गो इनवर्ड। अगर आप लॉजिकली सोच के लिखोगे, सबसे पहली बात है कि आपकी तैयारी होनी चाहिए। अगर आपको कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी है, आपकी लर्निंग है। आपको याद है मैंने फर्स्ट लेक्चर में भी आपको बताया था कि फर्स्ट स्टेप इज कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी। एक तो कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी कब आएगी? जब आपने सब पढ़ा होगा। एंड सेकेंड स्टेप इज लर्निंग एंड रिमेंबरिंग, देन थर्ड इज एप्लीकेशन, फोर्थ इज राइटिंग। तो हम सिर्फ अंडरस्टैंडिंग गेन करके छोड़ देते हैं, उससे एग्जाम में कुछ नहीं होगा जब तक आप उसको लर्न नहीं करोगे। बार बार आपको ये, मान लीजिए ये स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, ये 3-4 बार करना पड़ेगा। अभी आप एक बार तो कच्चा थोड़ा सा इसको करोगे, उसके बाद सेकंड बार पढ़ोगे तो आपके दिमाग में कुछ एस्टेब्लिश होगा, देन यू विल अगेन गिव ए रिवीजन, देन अगेन यू विल गिव फोर्थ रिवीजन, फिर आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करोगे, देन आपकी क्लैरिटी बढ़ती जाएगी। यस, क्लियर स्टूडेंट्स? यस प्रियंका, यू वांटेड टू से समथिंग?
नो सर, मेरा भी यही आंसर था कि वो डिफरेंट डेट पे उसे जाके इन्वेंटरी चेक कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, तो वो आंसर मान लीजिए आपको समझ आ गया, लेकिन जो वहां पे एक पैरा 4-5 लाइनें लिखनी है वो ठीक होनी चाहिए। तो उसको कैसे करोगे आप? इशू एनालाइज करोगे। क्वेश्चन में क्या है, उस इशू को एनालाइज करते हुए उस स्टैंडर्ड से, उस चीज से, उस कंसेप्ट से कोरिलेट करते हुए कंक्लूजन दोगे। ठीक है?
यस सर।
ठीक है। अब अगला देखिए, फोर्थ। यस अनूप।
Sir, in this case, he has to analyze the reason, sir. If it is genuine, then he has to
हाँ, यस
apply
यस,
alternative procedures. If it is not genuine, then modify opinion or opt out of engagement.
हाँ यस, वेरी गुड। तो अनूप, जो यू हैव गेन्ड कंसेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी, जो आज पढ़ाया आपने अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया, दिस आई एम श्योर, बट यू नीड टू बिल्ड अपॉन इट।
Yes, sir. Yes.
उसको छोड़ना नहीं है अभी डिटेल में। मैंने तो आपको ओवरव्यू दी है।
Yes, sir.
आपको पूरा का पूरा जो स्टैंडर्ड है मॉड्यूल में, आपको पूरा अच्छी तरह से पढ़ना है और पूरा उसको डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स उसके दिमाग में आपको एस्टेब्लिश करने हैं।
Okay, sir.
ओके,
Okay, sir.
यस। तो फिफ्थ क्वेश्चन सैम्पलिंग के बारे में है। सैम्पलिंग हमने किया नहीं है, तो इसको हम 31st को कर लेंगे ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के साथ। और आप इस चैप्टर में जो आज पढ़ा है, कोई भी स्टूडेंट क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहता है, इफ एनी स्टूडेंट वांट्स टू आस्क, ही कैन ज्वाइन ऑन जूम। कोई आपको एसर्शन के बारे में डाउट हो, ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स के बारे में डाउट हो, स्टूडेंट्स एसर्शंस के बारे में एक क्वेश्चन जरूर आएगा, चाहे वो केस स्टडी में हो, और कई बार तो पूरी केस स्टडी एसर्शन पे आ जाती है, पूरे 10 नंबर की या 8 नंबर की। तो यू हैव टू बी वेरी क्लियर अबाउट एसर्शंस।
सर, हमारे पास जो ये ऐसे है 550 रिलेटेड पार्टी का।
हाँ बोलिए।
और सर हमारे पास ना AS18 भी होता है रिलेटेड पार्टी का। तो दोनों को हम एक साथ कोरिलेट करके लिख सकते हैं कि बस मुझे स्टैंड ऐसे का ही रेफरेंस देना होगा।
हाँ, ऐसे का ही रेफरेंस देना होगा। ऐसे AS18 सप्लीमेंट करेगा, वो अकाउंटिंग के बारे में है, और ऐसे 550 का ही रेफरेंस आपको देना पड़ेगा पेपर में। अगर आप कहीं लिख सकते हैं AS18 रेफरेंस दे भी दें तो इतना सफिशिएंट रहेगा, और कोई डिटेल में जरूरत नहीं है। यस प्रिया, यू आर आस्किंग वी कैन वी रेफर सारांश फॉर नोट्स मेकिंग। प्रिया, जब भी आपको नोट्स बनाने हैं, सबसे अच्छा नोट्स बनाने का तरीका है, आप पहले, जैसे मैंने कहा, कंसेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग गेन करें, जैसे अब आप कर रहे हैं वीडियो देख के। उसके बाद आप लर्न करें, और फिर आप खुद से अपने नोट्स बनाएं। कभी भी नोट्स, किसी के बनाए हुए नोट्स कभी भी अच्छे नहीं होते। नोट्स हमेशा वही अच्छे होते हैं जो आप खुद अपने पास से बनाओगे, क्योंकि आपको जब एक तो नोट्स बनाते हुए आप लिखते हो, तो जब आप लिखते हो वो चीज आपके माइंड में एस्टेब्लिश हो जाएगी।
सर, हम एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस भी डिस्कस करेंगे।
हाँ हाँ करेंगे, क्यों नहीं करेंगे।
ओके सर।
अभी जो आपका पेपर आया है, जो अभी ऑडिटिंग का कल पेपर हुआ है 15th को, तो उसको जिस भी दिन टाइम होगा उसमें डिस्कस कर लेंगे उसके कुछ क्वेश्चंस।
स्टूडेंट्स, आप यू कैन प्रिपेयर एंड आप अपने जो डाउट्स है वो भी आप चैप्टर के साथ में, रिलीवेंट चैप्टर के साथ यू कैन आस्क।
हाँ हाँ, आप अभी भी पूछ सकते हैं मेरे से।
इफ यू हैव एनी डाउट इन दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन यू कैन डिस्कस।
हाँ, अभी जो कल का पेपर आया है, जैसे मैडम कह रहे हैं, कल का जो पेपर आया है आपको कोई भी उसमें चीज नहीं समझ आ रही इन चैप्टर से रिलेटेड, तो आप पूछ सकते हैं प्रियंका।
ओके सर।
ठीक है, बट और वन मोर थिंग, सारांश आपकी हेल्प के लिए है, सारांश के पैटर्न पे यू कैन मेक योर ओन नोट्स। सर, Akash was asking कि he has seen this class today for the first time. Akash, are you there?
Ye- Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, Akash. You sent me this message ना कि today you have seen the class for the first time.
Yes, ma'am.
So you are finding difficulty, right?
Yeah,
So
ma'am.
Akash, this time we have initiated the pattern. Recorded lectures are uploaded on the BOS Knowledge portal.
Yeah, ma'am.
And today we have completed our chapter 4.
Yes,
Right?
ma'am.
So now next class is on 21st.
31st, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we'll be
I have.
covering chapter 5. That is very, very important.
Okay, ma'am.
For joining that, if you view that session, then you'll be able to understand, because sir will be revising all the important concept and then he'll be taking question answer and of course your doubts.
Okay, ma'am.
And any specific example or question you want to ask, that you can ask specifically to sir.
Okay, ma'am.
And
नहीं, ma'am.
Sir
Akash?
is kind enough
Yes,
to
ma'am.
take all the queries of the students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Akash,
Yes, sir.
you are watching the lecture for the first time, so my request to you is first watch lectures pertaining to chapter 1, 2, and 3.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Okay, sir.
You won't be able to gain understanding by jumping straight away to chapter 4, because these chapters are arranged in a sequence logically, 1 from 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Okay.
Yeah, sir. मतलब internally वो
आकाश, आपकी आवाज
connected है.
कट रही है। हाँ जी।
नो सर, सर वो कट नहीं रही है सर, मेरे को थोड़ा सा स्टैमरिंग प्रॉब्लम है एक्चुअली.
अच्छा अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं।
सर मतलब वो सारे चैप्टर्स आपस में
इंटरलिंक्ड हैं।
यस सर, इंटरलिंक्ड हैं सर सारे चैप्टर्स,
हाँ,
आप यही
तो
कह
ये
रहे हैं ना
ऐसे
सर?
नहीं कि आप स्टैंड अलोन चैप्टर 4 कर लें, ऐसा नहीं पॉसिबल है।
नहीं सर,
आपको जब तक चैप्टर 1 समझ में नहीं आएगा, 3 नहीं समझ में आएगा, 4 पे नहीं आप आ सकते डायरेक्टली।
ओके सर। नहीं एक्चुअली सर, चूंकि अभी एग्जाम वगैरह सर चल रहे थे मेरे, तो मैं अभी
अच्छा,
कर नहीं
आपने क्या
पाया
ग्रुप
था।
1 दिया है?
नहीं सर, बोथ ग्रुप था सर मेरा।
अच्छा, बोथ ग्रुप्स दिए
यस
आपने।
सर, यस सर,
अच्छा,
बोथ
तो
ग्रुप्स
कैसा
था।
हुआ आपका ऑडिटिंग का पेपर?
सर ऑडिट का एक्चुअली सर बहुत अच्छा तो नहीं किया सर, क्योंकि मैंने सिलेबस मैंने किया ही नहीं था इवन, मतलब
नहीं, इस बार तो
हाँ
ऑडिटिंग का
सर। यस सर, बहुत
बिलो
बहुत
एवरेज
लेवल।
था, इट वाज एन
यस
इजी
सर,
पेपर।
यस
Below
सर, इजी
average तो
पेपर था।
नहीं बोल सकते, but हाँ, from the student perspective, of course it is average. Below average तो नहीं है।
मैम चूंकि मैंने पढ़ा नहीं था, मैंने कुछ देखा नहीं है एक्चुअली, मतलब ग्रुप 2 मेरा कंप्लीट हुआ ही नहीं था, सिर्फ कॉस्ट तक सिर्फ रह गया था, बाकी सब चीज कंप्लीट नहीं मैं कर पाया था। कल भी एक
हाँ, तो
जो फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट का पेपर है, तो उसमें भी बिल्कुल जीरो हूँ मैं
हाँ, तो
तो।
पहला तो
And आप
4
जो
हाँ सर।
एक चीज कह रहे हैं ना कि आपको हिंदी लैंग्वेज का भी है, तो सर के रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स अवेलेबल है,
यस
उसमें
सर।
उन्होंने हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स लैंग्वेज में
ओके मैम।
एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है। अभी
ओके
हमें
मैम।
इंस्ट्रक्शन है कि इंग्लिश में कवर करना है। इफ एनी स्टूडेंट स्पेसिफिकली आस्क कि मुझे हिंदी में ये चीज बता दीजिए, तो सर विल एक्सप्लेन इन हिंदी, अदरवाइज ही विल कंटिन्यू इन इंग्लिश।
नहीं मैम, मुझे प्रॉब्लम नहीं है एक्चुअली, मैं समझ लेता हूँ, बस थोड़ा सा क्योंकि मैं फर्स्ट टाइम था तो मैं कनेक्ट नहीं कर पा था कॉन्सेप्ट के थ्रू, क्योंकि ये मैं फर्स्ट टाइम मैं ये स्टडी कर रहा हूँ, ये सब्जेक्ट,
तो
ये
उसके लिए
ये
मेहनत
ऑडिट
करनी
का।
पड़ेगी ना
हाँ
आपको,
सर, हाँ सर, हाँ सर,
आकाश।
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल सर। अभी तो संकेत सर का काफी सारा वो भी था, संकेत सर का भी बैकलॉग था, तो भी वो भी मैंने कंप्लीट किया। आज आज तो कंप्लीट मैंने किया, उनके पहले के 5-6 लेक्चर्स थे, तो उनको भी मैंने कंप्लीट किया आज। तो
कीप
आप,
कीप
हाँ सर,
मोटिवेटेड
यस सर,
एंड
यस सर।
पुट इन योर ऑल एफर्ट्स। कुछ भी चीज मुश्किल नहीं है।
नो सर, नो सर, बिल्कुल सर,
हाँ।
बिल्कुल
एंड जो
सर।
नेक्स्ट चैप्टर है दैट इज ऑडिट ऑफ वेरियस आइटम ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, मतलब फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट के अंदर जितने भी
यस
आइटम्स है
मैम।
उसकी कैसे हम वो करते हैं, तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है और उसकी वेटेज भी काफी अच्छी है। सो यू गो थ्रू ऑल द लेक्चर्स अपलोडेड ऑन द सेम दिस टॉपिक
ओके मैम।
and then you will be able to understand. And next class we'll be having on 31st, so you are having break.
यस
So in
मैम,
the
यस
meantime
मैम,
you can cover all the chapters.
यस मैम, श्योरली मैम। मैम, जस्ट वन मोर थिंग सर, कैन सर आप प्लीज गाइड कर सकते हैं कि मतलब इस पेपर में कैसे कैसे मैं प्रिपेयर कैसे करूं, मतलब इस पेपर के लिए।
हाँ,
आकाश, अभी सर ना एक्चुअली जो नॉर्मल टॉपिक से रिलेटेड ले ले, उसके बाद में आप लास्ट में,
ओके मैम। ओके मैम, थैंक यू मैम।
क्योंकि वरना टॉपिक से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस रह जाएंगे
ओके
बेसिकली।
मैम, ओके मैम, या मैम।
yes,
एट द एंड सर कैन, हाँ।
any student who can ask, who has any doubt relating to topics we have covered today.
सर रेलिवेंस एंड रिलायबिलिटी का मीनिंग तो समझ आ गया, पर दोनों में डिफरेंस अगर करना हो तो फिर कैसे करेंगे सर?
देखो, रेलिवेंस ऑफ ऑडिट एविडेंस मतलब है कि जो मैं प्रोसीजर लगा रहा हूं ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन करने के लिए, वो उस सिचुएशन में रेलिवेंट होना चाहिए। अब जैसे मान लीजिए आप इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यूएशन की बात हो रही है, मैं इन्वेंट्री की वैल्यूएशन देखना चाहता हूं ये प्रॉपर है कि नहीं। क्या खाली इन्वेंट्री का फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंट प्रोसेस अटेंड करने से मेरे को उसका वैल्यूएशन का पता चल जाएगा?
नहीं सर।
मैं वैल्यूएशन तो मैं मेथड देखूंगा उसने कौन सा लगाया है, क्या है,
मैथड।
क्या कॉस्टिंग के पार्ट है, तभी पता चलेगा ना। वो तो मेरे को पता चलेगा कि वो एग्जिस्ट करती है कि नहीं, या उसमें कुछ उसकी कंडीशन है तो वो थोड़ा सा पार्ट वैल्यूएशन से रिलेटेड है कि ऑब्सोलीट इन्वेंट्री है तो उसका मेरे को कुछ अलाउंस बनाना है, कुछ अलाउंस देना है उसमें से, मैनेजमेंट ने अलाउंस दिया है कि नहीं दिया। लेकिन वैसे तो उसका फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंट अटेंड करने का वैल्यूएशन से सच तो कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, तो वो उस केस में रेलिवेंट नहीं रहा अगर मैं वैल्यूएशन चेक कर रहा हूं तो। समझो अब मेरी बात। और
यस।
रिलायबल का मतलब है कि जो भी आप ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन कर रहे हो वो रिलायबल होना चाहिए। अब ये नहीं है इसका मतलब कि जो ऑडिट एविडेंस इंटरनल ऑडिट एविडेंस है वो रिलायबल नहीं है। ज्यादा ऑडिटर जो भी ऑडिट एविडेंस ऑब्टेन करता है वो इंटरनल ही होता है। जो आप जब आप ऑडिट करने जाओगे आपके पास एग्रीमेंट्स हैं, आपके पास बिल्स हैं, आपके पास एक्सपेंसेस हैं, वॉचर्स हैं, मैनेजमेंट के प्लान्स हैं, इंटरनल कंट्रोल मैनुअल्स हैं, तो बहुत ज्यादा सारा ऑडिट एविडेंस जनरली जो है इंटरनल का ही होता है, इंटरनल नेचर का ही होता है। ये मतलब नहीं है कि वो रिलायबल है, रिलायबल नहीं है। उसका फर्क ये है कि जो एक्सटर्नल सोर्स से ऑब्टेन हो रहा है उसकी डिग्री ऑफ रिलायबिलिटी ज्यादा है। ओके। और ये भी
रिलायबिलिटी
मतलब
में
नहीं है कि
ट्रूथफुल।
इंटरनल ऑडिट एविडेंस सफिशिएंट अप्रोप्रिएट नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है।
ओके सर, इन शॉर्ट मतलब रिलायबिलिटी मीन्स ट्रूथफुल कर सकते हैं हम, और रेलिवेंस मतलब जो हम डेटा देख रहे हैं
हाँ,
collect कर रहे हैं।
हाँ।
ओके सर।
हेलो
यस,
सर।
एनीवन, यस अनूप।
सर एक्सप्लिसिट और इम्प्लिसिट का एक एग्जांपल नहीं, मीनिंग समझा था।
हाँ, एसर्शंस में आपको ये ध्यान में रखना है कि जो एसर्शंस होती हैं वो नॉर्मली बल्क ऑफ द एसर्शन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में इम्प्लिसिट होती है। इम्प्लिसिट का मतलब इम्प्लाइड होती है। जैसे कि अम, जैसे कि बिल्डिंग आ रही है, ठीक है, तो अब बिल्डिंग में फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में ये तो नहीं लिखा हुआ बिल्डिंग इज ऑन्ड बाय द कंपनी, लिखा होता नीचे कहीं?
नहीं नहीं।
नहीं लिखा होता ना।
यस।
लेकिन वो इम्प्लिसिट है, जब बिल्डिंग आ रही है तो इसका मतलब कंपनी की है।
हाँ हाँ हाँ। ओके।
ठीक है।
ठीक है ठीक है सर।
मतलब जितनी आप भैया कुछ भी चीज फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट में है, ये समझ के चलो अनूप कि वो सब एसर्शन है। फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मैनेजमेंट की है, जो भी उसने लिखा है उसके अंदर वो सब एसर्शन है। ऑडिटर ने उन एसर्शंस को चेक करना है, उसको मिस स्टेटमेंट ढूंढनी है उसमें से।
तो डिफरेंट असर्शंस लगा के वो मिस
हाँ,
स्टेटमेंट्स
वो डिफरेंट एसर्शंस को वेरीफाई करता है कि
वेरीफाई
भैया
करता है।
ये अकरेंस एसर्शन वेरीफाई करने का मतलब है कि ये ट्रांजेक्शन हुई कि नहीं हुई।
हाँ
कंप्लीटनेस एसर्शन लगाने का मतलब है कि मतलब उसी ट्रांजैक्शन के डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स को चेक करता है।
हाँ। ओके सर।
क्लियर?
सर ये असर्शंस और प्रोसीजर्स मतलब डिफरेंस हो सकता है सर, मतलब जब भी वो असर्शंस लगाता है, अकरेंस असर्शंस है सर।
मैंने आई एम नॉट एबल टू गेट इट, क्या कह रहे हो आप?
सर मतलब जब भी अकरेंस असर्शंस ऐसा लगा अप्लाई करता है ना सर, इट इज ऑल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ प्रोसीजर ओनली ना सर। सो
नहीं, अक्रेंस तो असर्शन है जिसको मैं टेस्ट कर रहा हूं, उसके लिए मैं प्रोसीजर क्या लगा रहा हूं? प्रोसीजर इंस्पेक्शन कर रहा हूं, मैं सेल्स बिल चेक कर रहा हूं।
हाँ ओके।
क्लियर?
हाँ क्लियर।
यस। ऐसे दिमाग में समझ में आती है बात आपको। हाँ, बोलिए अनूप। और यस, अथरा यू आर सेइंग please speak in English. Athra, you have this is last part is this is interactive part. If you want to ask something, you can log in at Zoom and you can ask your question in English. Or if you are unable to log to Zoom, then you can send your query in the mail on English. I would respond. शोभा कुमारी, यू आर आस्किंग जूम कैसे ज्वाइन करें? जूम की नीचे पट्टी चल रही है, उस पे जूम का एड्रेस है, आप उस पे गूगल पे जाके उसको क्लिक करके ज्वाइन कर लें।
From this time, we have taken this initiative. We are sharing the Zoom link, so student can directly join and they can ask their queries. They can, for initial 2 hours, session will be going on, and thereafter, if you have any doubt, sir will be taking some question and answer, and thereafter, if you have any doubt, you can interact with him. And Zoom link is shared with you all if you are viewing the session. You can 6 to 8 you can write in chat, or as usual, as you write through app or via mobile app, you can write your query.
Yes, anybody else? Students, those who you are watching, any doubt about this chapter? Any doubt about this chapter? Even from the topics we have covered and even from those topics we have not covered. Any doubt?
सर रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर से सारे डाउट्स तो वैसे तो ऑलमोस्ट कंप्लीट हो गए थे, और आज क्वेश्चंस पूछ के थोड़ा एक शार्पनिंग भी हो गई। अब कोई डाउट नहीं है इसमें।
अब कोई डाउट नहीं है। थैंक यू। ओके,
One
गुड।
more thing, all the students, you are requested to share your feedback. Your feedback is very important and crucial for us. So share your feedback on the session. And sir, if nobody is having doubt, then you can take up Akash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, I am asking students if you have any doubts, or should we conclude the session? If you have any doubts, I am giving you 2-3 minutes to come forward and ask your queries. Otherwise, we are going to close the session.
I think now we can take Akash.
Yes, Akash.
Akash?
यस मैम। सर एक्चुअली यही सर पूछना था सर, थोड़ा सा मेरे को अगर सर आप लोग सजेस्ट सर कर देते, मतलब गाइड कर देते सर कि आप इस पेपर के लिए प्रिपरेशन कैसे करें सर। और
हाँ, तो इसके लिए आप आकाश एक काम करें,
यस सर।
जो 30th अप्रैल का मेरा लेक्चर है,
यस सर।
रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर है, फर्स्ट
Yes, sir.
लेक्चर है इस सेशन का, 30th
Yes,
अप्रैल
sir.
24 का।
यस सर।
ठीक है, आप वो देखें, आपको उसमें अप्रोच पता चलेगी कि आपको इस सब्जेक्ट को पढ़ना कैसे है।
ओके
आप
सर।
जैसे फर्स्ट चैप्टर स्टार्ट करेंगे, आप उसको समझें, पढ़ें, लेक्चर देखें, पुराना रिकॉर्डेड देखें। अगर कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा तो
ओके
आप
सर।
मेरे से अगले लेक्चर में भी फर्स्ट चैप्टर के बारे में भी पूछ सकते हैं।
ओके सर।
वी आर हेयर टू आंसर योर क्वेरीज,
ओके सर।
डू नॉट हेजिटेट।
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है। यस, अमृत लक्ष्मी, यू आर सेइंग is there option to ask question through YouTube comment section? No, there is no such option.
Dear student, it's very easy to log in. Either you can join through Zoom link, or you can go on BOS Knowledge portal with the help of your registration number and date of. You can in within a fraction of second you can join the session. You can watch it through mobile app also. And if you have any query, you can write over there. Ask your query feature is also there. You can use that.
So should we conclude, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks a
ma'am.
lot. And the next session is on 21st.
31st.
21st of May, and very, very, very important topic. Though I can say all the topics are very important for auditing subject. So in auditing and ethics, chapter 5 is for financial statements, and sir will be taking in detail. So you all be present, and thank you very much, sir. Thanks for imparting the knowledge and for making our students more confident so that they can write in the examination. So you have covered almost all the important topics which are covered in chapter 4. So with this, thank you. Thank you to all the students. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
one more thing, sir. Ma'am, you said that we should have to mention our registration number. So it is compulsory for the all time, yeah, or for one time?
Whenever you are logging through Zoom, it's always
Okay,
good.
ma'am.
You write Akash and your registration number.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
There is no problem in that.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Okay.
It's for our internal control only. That's all. Nothing.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Ashokji, yeah.
Yes, session over.